Hello everyone. How are you? How are you guys doing? Welcome to the first ever live show of the CliMates Bookclub. I can't believe I'm actually doing it, but yeah, we are here and we are here to discuss the climate book, or as you can see here. Uh, and I am really scared and excited as well to talk about it. So hope this is gonna be somewhat interesting. We'll see. We'll see. Um, yeah, I have my tea here, so it's very hot still. So I'm not gonna drink it yet. Can you guys hear me and see me well? Um, and yeah, just check off technical issues, possible technical issues. Otherwise, we can maybe start shortly, not shortly, quickly. Just start talking about the book. Um, I just finished it like 1 hour ago. Like seriously, I finished it an hour ago. And it was an intense, very intense ride. Um yeah, hello Jess. Hi. Love the emojis. Yes, see and hear you. Good. Looks like so far you're the only one, but that's fine. That's fine. Less pressure for me. Yeah, but yeah, I finished it like 1 hour ago, and so I have, well, everything I would say quite fresh in my memory, you could say. I'm here. Hi. It doesn't show that you are. It shows tells me that only one person is here, but it's fine. Then it's two. Nice. Yay. Yeah. Nice. So yeah. Um, happy that you are both here. mm, yeah. When I set up the book club, I knew it would be a slow start because I'm not very active on social media. So this generally doesn't go very well for me. But we are here and we are starting, and maybe it will grow into something a little bit bigger. We'll see. Siri play under pressure. Yeah, I was really scared, but like this is not like a national stream or something. It's fine. It's fine. We are friends. um, but yeah, this was a very intense read. um it took me, when did I start? I can exactly check when I started reading it. I started it on February 14th, so it took me a month. It took me a month to read this book. And yeah, I read maybe like 50 pages in last 3 weeks, in the first 3 weeks. So like that in the first 3 weeks, and then in the last 1.5 week I read like this, all of this. So very intense. I at some points, when I was reading like in one day like 50 pages, my brain was not working at the end. I was like, I just can't. Like, I know I'm fascinated by the essays, by what the book is about, but just my brain was just like, no, I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to. And it was a struggle, but I got through it. So I'm really proud of myself, actually. Hello, hi. I don't think Greta's going to watch. You're good. Actually, she posted on Instagram today, when she was striking in front of the Swedish parliament. And I was thinking of messaging her. That would be hilarious, but no, of course not. She has like millions of followers. No, but yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I took a weekish long break as encouraged by my therapist. It's great, but it's intense, like you said. Yeah. Okay, even encouraged by your therapist to take a break. Yeah, I mean, it was, I think, on the sprints ones when I was reading one part of it, and it actually made me sick, so I had to put it down. I actually marked exactly. It's one of the pink ones. Yeah, you can see all my. I'm gonna show you this angle. All the tabs. So the blue ones are just what I think is interesting and what I would like to come back to. The pink ones are what I would potentially like to bring up now, potentially, not all of it. And then the yellow ones are when they talk about Sweden and some statistics from Sweden. One of the pink ones have the part that made me sick, and then I had to take a break. And then now during the week I was reading, and uh, I actually started crying, like bawling my eyes out. You guys will see it in the vlog. It was intense at times, especially with some of the videos I saw on YouTube recently. So, because I've been watching videos from both sides of the American parties. So I've been watching videos both like left leaning people and right leaning people, but sometimes it just goes too far, because usually I can agree with both sides in some degree, to some degree. So I think I'm somewhere in the middle, but I don't know if that's okay to say in these days. But I am somewhere in the middle. Usually I will find that the what my true opinion is somewhere in between the people screaming on the left and the people screaming on the right. I would be somewhere in the middle. So I like to watch both to kind of get the full picture, and also to kind of understand what everybody is complaining about and how everybody's twisting everybody's words, and how some people are just deranged. um, and there was one video that completely messed me up, and yeah, I ended up crying. I don't know. It was very emotional for me. It was weird. It will be also in the vlog. It was specifically, yeah, talking about one of the old Greta's tweets that she deleted, apparently. Tweet from 5 years ago. Whatever. All I can say is the audiobook was not it for me. Yeah, I understand that it is intense. I think it's good to like take it slow. So I don't think this book is for like 1 month read. This is really like read one article in a week or something, or whatever you feel like. Really, it's you need to take your time with it. And if you didn't like the audiobook, that's fine. I didn't have access to it at all on any of my audiobook platforms, so I didn't hear it. But that's one of the reviews. I had the audio going while I followed along in the book. Some of the people reading were depressing as hell. Yeah, some of the articles were depressing as hell. And I learned the British pronunciation of methane is different, and it was a jolt every time. Yeah, yeah, the pronunciation of something is very different in English, in American English and British English. So I think I generally lean towards the American English because that's just most more common one. I use blue tabs for things. So sad I had to pause. Oh gosh. How many tabs do you have? The book also has so many charts and photographs and such that adds to it. Yeah, exactly. So that was one of the things I actually posted. Did I post it to Instagram today? When I was reading, I think in the morning. Yeah, this graph about the CO2 uh, emissions per capita across the world in 2019, and how America is across all over here is for, well, that's the top 10, but even the middle 40% are 21.7, and Europe is like half, which makes me kind of happy that I'm in Europe. But yeah, it's yeah, and that the graph was just, so for the context, it is tons of CO2 emissions per year per person. Yeah, as average. And the red one is the top richest one, top richest 10%. The orange one is 40%, the middle 40%, and the blue one is bottom 50%. So you can see the poorest people are really not doing bad. So yeah. Methane, methane. I don't know. I think 16 blue tabs. Okay, I don't even want to count. One, two, one, two. Yeah, like 30 at least. Your pictures are in color, them. Ooh, yours aren't? What? You have the American version, right? The black one. You have the black one. My pictures are in color. Like this is blue. All Greta's articles are blue. And yeah, the pictures are in color. This is in color. And there are these kind of pictures. Do you have that in those? In your edition? And what more graphs? Yeah, like this one. The color here is not really important, but then here on this graph it's kind of interesting. I mean, also doesn't add that much to it, but yeah. My book is all black and white and gray. I guess that's why the US one was cheaper. Like that could be one of the reasons. And I did find the explanation of the cover is here on the back. It's very last page. That's why I didn't see it before. It's very much in the back. And then I like that you can go to the website. The website is Show Your Stripes. Showyourstripes.info. And on that page, on this website, you can check different continents, different countries, even in some places, different cities, and what are their stripes. And it's very interesting, very interesting. Yep, I have all grayscale for the photographs. Oh, really? Okay. That's annoying. Should I send you the pictures in color? I can take pictures of all of them in color and send it to you. Like here, is this also black and white for you, or like grayscale? I feel like that takes so much out of it. Yes, the cover, like you can guess, but seeing, hearing it just increases the. Yeah. So should I explain what it is? Maybe people don't know. So show your stripes. So what the cover actually is. And I knew this before. I found this 2 years ago or something. The cover, please focus. Thank you. Means every single stripe represents a year, average temperature on the surface all around the world in that year. So this is the most recent year. I think that is 2020 on the front with 2021. So this last stripe here is 2021. It is the lighter red. It is not the dark red. It is the lighter red. And then starts in 1634. So this is 4 years of temperature change, or of average temperatures per year. So you can see how it started pretty cool, and then it continues, it changes to lighter blue towards kind of beige red, dark red. And so this is the change that we are talking about a lot. This is the industrial age. This is the last 60 years or so. And yeah, so that's basically what the cover means, what the stripes mean. And then on the website as well, the Show Your Stripes, it explains how they come up with the colors, and like what it is referring to or compared to, what is the base. So it is explained there in the graphs. You can choose different types of graphs as well. So check that website. It's really interesting. Oh, that's sweet. I'm okay with the gray. Okay. The website even gets as specific as my states. That's depressing. Yeah, it gets very specific. I didn't check the US in particular, but for example, in Sweden, it had specifically for Stockholm and for Uppsala, but only 2 places, and they are pretty close to each other. So I don't think there's big of a difference, but still. So it can be quite specific. So it's worth checking. Now, what the book is about. It is more than 100 essays about climate change. climate crisis, especially climate emergency. They call it all kinds of different things. And yeah, it's a different kind of people talk about different things that they are specialists in. There are a couple things that I didn't know. So that's my first question. What is something that you learned that stuck with you the most, that you didn't know before? For me, I think what stuck with me the most, or um, one thing that I learned is, embarrassingly enough, difference between carbon and methane. How carbon stays for centuries and methane dissolves on its own after a couple of years or decades. So that was very interesting. I didn't know that. So that was, I think, very useful information. And then I was shocked when it was talking about how recycling is the ultimate greenwashing. That recycling is basically just alibi to say that we are doing something, while in fact it's not doing that much at all. So that was shocking because since I was growing up, we had these recycling bins, and it was a big deal then. It is a big deal now. Everybody needs to recycle. There are different bins everywhere, and it's just now I learned that recycling actually doesn't work. So that's probably what knocked me down a lot, was the recycling issue. Um, Anything else? I was really happy when they mentioned the Gulf Stream, and the stream that uh, flows from Mexico to the North Europe across Atlantic Ocean, because I heard about that before in Leo DiCaprio documentary. I can't remember what the name was of that, but there he mentioned it, and I thought it was really interesting because he was talking about how global warming could cause this stream to kind of slow down and divert from its current path. And that would mean that Northern Europe would freeze, because this stream is what makes Northern Europe livable, inhabitable. But if that would change, because we are at the same latitude as like Canada or something, here in Sweden especially. So if the stream were to divert and slow down, the temperatures here would drop significantly, and we would struggle a lot. So that was very interesting that they actually explained it here a lot better than they did in the documentary as well. But since the documentary, I never heard anybody talking about that, and everybody's worrying about global warming, while global warming would mean that Northern Europe would freeze. How ironic, but it's explained here, and I love that. So that's another thing. Those were maybe the not the most points, but what I thought of right now. Um, I have tabs for new to me info too. Nice. That with these types of books, I need a physical copy at the very least. Uh, that is my requirement for when I'm reading these kind of books. I listened to the David Attenborough Life on Our Planet, and I desperately need the physical copy of it, because it had so much amazing information that I really want to read it again and highlight and tab and stuff, because that was great. So for me, when I want to read books about climate, I will definitely have a hard copy. So yeah, that is a good point. Recycling thing. I've been recycling my whole life, and I thought it made way more of a difference. Exactly. Yes. The same. I was shocked. I, you know, my dad was very cynical. He well, now he passed away a couple of years ago, so he was very cynical all his life, as I remember. Um, and we were always recycling at home, but he never approved. He was like, "Why do you bother? They always throw it in the same bin anyway." I'm like, "No, they don't. They can't. It's from the law. They can't do that." And then he would bring a story from when he was at work. Again, I don't know if it actually happened or if he just wanted to prove a point or whatever, made up story. But when he was at work, there was this bins in office, and they had probably like normal trash, paper, and plastic or something like that. And he was sitting there, and a cleaning lady came to take out the trash, and she took the trash, put it in the bag, took out the paper, put it in the same bag, took out a plastic, and put it in the same bag, and left. Job done. And he was just laughing, like, yeah, obviously. Like they're not recycling. It's just to lie to people. And I was like, no, it's not. He was right. He was right. He was very cynical, so I am naive. Or I grew to be cynical, but I like to believe there is good in people and good in world. But this one time, he was right. A lot of stuff for me was terminology, like the great acceleration, attribution science, stuff like that. Yeah, yeah. The Weather Channel used to have this show called "It Could Happen Tomorrow." Like, what if certain disasters hit certain areas? And I saw one, what if a Category 5 hurricane hit New York City? And yeah, I'm screwed too. So every time I hear that sort of stuff, I kind of shut down, like too scared to think about. Yeah, definitely. But also with the recycling, if people individually recycle, we are doing the work. It's just higher ups and leaders that don't care and ruin it for everyone. Yeah, I want to go back to this one. Um, it is, I think, as Ewald said, Ewald. Sorry, I if I pronounce your name wrong. That he didn't like the book, or yeah, he wasn't a fan of how they were bringing forth the doom. Like, we are doomed, we are going to die, we are destroying ourselves. And this is exactly the kind of terminology that they are using in this weather channel that you're talking about. um it's not good to spread panic, it's good to spread information, and so we can learn. But need to do it usually very carefully, because otherwise, as you say, people will shut down and will not want to think about it. That's exactly what I did when Corona started. At first, I was very interested and very involved. And after a while, I just noticed that it just gave me anxiety just to think about it. So I shut down all the channels, all the news. It was just a taboo for me. I was not thinking about it. I was not reading about it. I hated it. So, yeah, it's not a good way to bring people to care, to threaten them with disasters. It's not that it's not true necessarily, but if people are scared, they are less likely to act. And with the recycling, yeah, we do the work. We It makes us feel good, but there is no difference in bigger picture, because the point is that we should limit the waste in the first place. Like, there is it is better to recycle it than to just throw it away. But as a whole, if you think about the big picture, the recycling is just kind of, um I don't know how to explain. I'm searching for some metaphor, but the recycling is just a little drop in the sea to, okay, well, we made all this waste and we are recycling 10% of it. The rest is going to be burned or thrown away, thrown into the ocean. And it's simply not a good solution. It's not good enough. So it definitely needs to go higher up than that as well. but also we need to try to limit our waste, which is not easy in our society, in our world. But you know, just try. Just trying, thinking about it consciously when you go to a store. So you would choose, for example, tomatoes or potatoes that are free, so you can just grab it and put it in a reusable bag, instead of buying it in the bag that you buy and then you have to throw away right after you are done using it. Little things like that. I mean, they're not going to make a huge difference, but if everybody did it, it will make a difference. Yeah, like it's stuff we need to know about, even if it's scary, so we can get past the fear and figure out what to do about it. Yes, exactly. And that kind of brings me to one thing that I didn't like about this book. And it was, um, what I didn't like about this book was Greta talking about hope has to be earned, and how hope is not good enough and we don't deserve hope and these kind of things. And it just irked me because I read last year, 2 years ago, last year, I read the, where is it? It's, I don't even know where it is. The book, The Book of Hope by Jane Goodall. It is somewhere here. I can't find it now. The Book of Hope by Jane Goodall explains the hope so beautifully. It made me cry. Like the entire book is about hope, and I was crying a couple times. It was so beautiful. I see Greta's point. She was explaining that she means that uh, you can't just sit in your sofa, do absolutely nothing, and be hopeful. Like that doesn't work, and that I agree with. Um, so in that sense, I guess yes, you have to earn hope, but hope is not something that is given. Hope is just it's a survival instinct, you know. um it's not just like, oh, I choose to hope. No, that is a survival instinct. That hope is exactly what makes you fight if you're in danger. That is survival instinct. You are hoping you will survive. And for her to put it in that way, that hope has to be earned, bothered me. It wasn't like a big deal that I now hate this book, not at all. It's just that exactly the kind of doomsday kind of talk for me. I don't like it. And if you wanna like educate yourself on hope in these dark times, The Book of Hope by Jane Goodall, 5 stars. Amazing book. Amazing. I thought also during the pandemic, like how many people were getting takeout in plastic containers and how much extra plastic we were all using, including masks, face masks. Every time I used the face mask, I was like, this is awful. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, and I think about this all the time. Like, for example, you'll watch a TV show and then you'll have, for example, doctor's TV show, and they have, the plastic gloves that they have to use, new ones for every patient. So they'll use different gloves like 20 times a day. And then imagine there is millions of doctors, and like there is no way around it. It's just, that's just one thing that there is no way around. There is no better way to go around it, to make it safe for the patients and for the doctors and for the nurses. So then there are some things like, and I still think about it like, oh my god, that would bother me so much. And honestly, it bothers me in my job too. Like I'm not a nurse, not a nurse. I'm an engineer. um, and I sit in front of my computer and design stuff. But the stuff that I design oftentimes demolishes nature and uses very unsustainable products. And it bothers me. And I'm questioning my life decisions. So like, yeah, it's not easy life to know. A lot too was like, here's what individuals can do, but also you can make a difference as an individual. Which is it? Pick a side. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that was exactly another thing that bothered me too. It was this circle, this loop of government will not do anything unless we speak. But if you speak on your own, there is nothing that can happen. You're too small for that. Like it won't make a difference. And it just felt like this never ending loop. It was all over like the book all the time. And I think emphasizing that we as individuals can't make a difference is complete opposite of what the book wanted to achieve, because they do explain that yes, you as an individual, if you are the only one doing something, it's not going to change anything. That is true, but they, like, if you start, other people will ask about it, your friends, your family, your colleagues, people around you will ask about it. If you are on social media, you can spread it there, people will look at it. It might plant a seed in their head, they will want to adopt similar things if they think it's good for the environment, if they think they are doing some good, it will make them feel good to do that too. And that's what they were talking about a lot. And I liked when they said that, um, as an individual you still can make a difference, because this is exactly the effect it has. And if it's enough people, it will change how the government is thinking about policies. So to repeat constantly that you as an individual can make a difference was a little counterproductive for me. I didn't like that all that much. Yeah. Without hope, you might as well give up. It is needed in life. Greta's problem is that she comes off the condescending at times with her words choices. Yeah, yes, it is. It's working though. It's working obviously, but um, exactly as you say, without hope, there is nothing. There is nothing. But what she then explained, like in the first, I think there were a couple places where she was talking about how hope needs to be earned, and how people in the global north are not supposed to be hoping, it's supposed to be the people in the global south, which sounded a bit weird to me. But all right, like just because we are lucky enough to be born in the global north, that we should be punished for it. Like I care about it. If I could, I would change the entire world for the better, but I'm not powerful enough to do that. Why should I not be hopeful? Why should I, like, hmm. Yeah, the rhetorics is a little out there, as it is for many people, as it is a trend today. It is either extreme or not good enough. And it felt in some of these, it felt like Greta was doing that, definitely. I don't think it was in the essays in general, it wasn't like that, but when Greta was talking, I think it was like that. But then in the last one that she was talking about hope, she kind of explained that. And I think that is true. Like, yes, you get to hope because that's just how life is. But uh, hope means that you're trying to do something. So if you want to hope that something will get better, you need to do something about it, kind of thing. That, I think that's how she meant it, that you need to earn hope by doing something. Even if it's just, you know, taking a bus instead of a car, for example. Like it's still something. And uh, I think that's what she meant. But until we got to that point, it just felt like, what are you talking about? Like, hope is the essential what we need. We need hope. Yes, if you know it's a losing battle, you won't find it as hard. We have to think we have a chance to fix or even improve things at least a little, or else no one will even try. Exactly. Yes. Also, a lot of ways the articles proposed of how to come together or change things was just unrealistic. Yes. I think that's why there are so many different essays, is because some of them are really out there, and it's not supposed to be all of it true and all of it realistic. I think it was supposed to more or less portray how the um, world looks like and how everything is connected and what we can do to change things. Yeah, I think that was a point. That was the point in the entire thing, that the people didn't really agree with each other and that they sometimes had unrealistic expectations or unrealistic ideas. I thought that was, oh, now the turtle is not there. There are the turtles. Yeah. Like someone said, to move farming in the US from the plains to states like New York or Pennsylvania, which have better weather for it. And all, have you been to the US? States are so divided on everything. Yes. Yeah, there were a couple of things that didn't make sense to me as well with that farming in particular. There was something talking about how, what was it? Um, it was something that the yes, the animals in the industry factories, like the factory farms, are more sustainable, or like the meat from these animals is more sustainable than meat from the grazing animals, the animals that are outside on the, you know, meadow or whatever. And I'm just thinking, how is that? That was that was not explained very well, and from everything I've ever read, um, doesn't make sense to me. Because when you have a grazing animal, you have these meadows that belong to the ranches, and yes, it takes more food to raise these animals, and it takes simply more care, more finances, more water to take care of these animals because they are well taken care of than it takes to take care of the factory farm animals, which are just objects, or treated as objects. But when you have a meadow and it is kind of like on, kind of nature, you have all these animals living there, and yes, it's plain grass or whatever, but it's still open to nature. Well, if you have the animals in the factory farms, they are fed by the, yeah, with oats, soy, corn, that is in these like grown in these horrible ways that are so damaging to the environment. Like, I don't understand that. So yeah, that, I think that essay was a little question marks for me there as well. As individual we as individuals, we can do very little, but we are part of a collective, and eventually, if enough people cry out, the government will change, especially if profits get threatened. Exactly. Yes. um Yes, as individuals, we can do very little, but we don't live as as individuals. We live as part of a society. So unless you have a job where you don't have colleagues, where you don't meet people, where you're at home all the time, you don't have any family, you don't have any friends, you're completely on your own, then of course your individual choices don't make any difference. But once you are part of some community, of some society, of some group of people, you will make influence on them. And then they will make influence on other people around them, and it just spreads. And yeah, it's like, for example, if I go to a store and I choose the potatoes that are freely potatoes instead of the bag potatoes, yes, that doesn't make any difference. Because am I gonna go to tell my colleague that I got tomato potatoes from, I got them in my reusable bag instead of the plastic bag? No, of course not. But if you talk to the people as in general, or if they know you enough, they will know, they'll get inspired. It's, yeah, yeah, it's just no one is too small to make a difference, as was the other book by Greta. But you still need the governments to make the decisions, but they'll only make the decisions when the people will come together. So yeah. I also felt incredibly guilty every few articles for being from the global north and for being white, like more than the usual everyday guilt for those things. Yep, yep. Yeah, that's exactly the kind of narrative I dislike so much. Um, is because we are from the north, because white people from Europe were, yeah, and I felt, well, I didn't feel guilty, I just felt annoyed. How it was portrayed that Europeans went to all these places and colonized it and basically caused climate change today. Yes, of course. Let's blame the white people from Europe. Um, it's just bigger than that. It played a role, absolutely, but it's, I don't think it's ever a good argument or good point to ever blame someone for something that happened 400 years ago, or to make anyone feel guilty for something they can't influence. Like, it wasn't my choice to be born in Europe, it wasn't my choice to be born white. Like, I do profit from it, profit. I get benefits from it, of course, from living in Europe compared to people living in some like developing country in Africa or in Asia. Absolutely, yes. But I do want to do better. I do want the world to be good. So why should I feel guilty about it? Like, and another problem that I have, and this is not only with this book, this is in general. And if I get cancelled for this, I will. That's fine. Uh, this white savior complex thing, I never understood that. I never understood that concept, because what if I'm honestly a good person and I honestly want to help the ones that I see that somebody is doing worse than me, and I want to help them? I can't because I'm white, and then it's white savior complex. And then if I don't, then I'm just using my privilege and not caring about the people less fortunate. And like, then, like, I don't get that. What do people who talk about white savior complex want from us? So that I don't understand. Maybe just wasn't explained to me properly. Maybe I'm just ignorant in that, even though I did read about it quite a bit. I still don't get it. So, and that was also mentioned here, like, we can we shouldn't go around the world with the white savior complex to try to save other countries, but we should try to invest money and like pay them reparations. Like, isn't that the same thing though? Isn't that the same thing, that I'm, because I have money, I'm lucky enough to be in a place where I have money, and give it to the poor people? Isn't that exactly the same thing? Isn't that white savior complex? And why is it wrong? It's only wrong if it's performative, if I want to do it to gain followers. But if I really want to do it to help people, why is that wrong? So that also I didn't understand. And that, yeah, don't like that rhetoric either. Then that was funny too. Get rid of your car and take the bus or walk. Just felt super ableist. uh yeah, I mean, of course, that's always with do the best you can. I think that that's one thing. It's usually not clearly said, but people like to take everything personally these days. It's always do the best you can. The same with veganism, for example. I'm vegan, but I know there are animals suffering for my food. I do know that. I checked the banana farm where my bananas came from, because at some point they were doing this campaign where they would put like a code, and you can exactly check the website and the camera and pictures from the farm from which the bananas were taken and like bought and brought to you. And so I did check it, and guess what? There was this donkey carrying the bananas across the plantage. But I'm against that. I'm vegan. I'm against any use of animals. But does it mean now that I need to check every single banana farm if there are no donkeys? Donkeys? Like, no, it doesn't work. It's you can do only as good as is realistic for you. Like, you can't do more than that. So that again is within reason. Nobody's going to tell you that if you have, I don't know, if you are scared of people, you need to take a bus instead of a car, for example. Or if you have a wheelchair, it's much easier to go by car, I imagine, than by bus. By all means, if you have a baby, oftentimes it's easier to go by car than a bus. It's just, if you can, if you want to, if it's practical for you, choose that instead, because it's better. But you still need to do what's best for you, kind of thing, I would say. White savior complex is only a thing if white people want to help people of color exclusively to make themselves feel better. But you always make yourself feel better when you help people. So, you know, like, if you help someone, it will always make you feel better. Why otherwise do you help someone? Like, I honestly, I want to help everyone who is suffering. Why? What does it do for me? It makes me feel good. What else does it make for me? Nothing. That's it. It makes me feel good that I was able to help someone. And there is nothing wrong with that. It's just how it is. That's how I feel anyway about it. Maybe I will be cancelled now. Nobody will come to my sprints after this, but I don't know. I mean, I'm American, so I just accept that everyone already hates me anyway, so I'll just do whatever good I can. Yeah, today's world is just filled with hate towards everyone who's not just what they want you to be. I know what you mean about it, though. I think it's just the performative aspect of it that's super problematic. Yeah, I get the performative part, that you are going to help some people and then post picture of it on Instagram to get likes. Yeah, that's awful. But if you actually want to help someone, why is that a problem? Like, yeah, maybe don't post it on Instagram to get likes. Or if you do, if you honestly wanted to help someone, that's also, I don't see a real problem with it. I don't know. That makes me think of how people said Prince Harry and William were fighting about Africa is my thing, and everyone was like, whoa, whoa, what the hell? In the memoir I didn't read, I meant. Yeah, I didn't read that, so I don't know. Not feel good because you did the thing, feel good because of the adoration they get. That is the difference, really. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. But okay. I see what you mean. I get it. I agree. I just wonder how many people truly do that just to get adoration. I don't think there is that many people. Even there are a lot of people who want to take advantage of things, but in the bigger picture, they still helped. You know what? Like, if I'm drowning, am I gonna complain that somebody saved my life just because they want to take a picture? Barbara is just coming from a good place of wanting to help everyone, whereas other people are like, okay, all the people of color organizations are linked in my video description because I care. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think that's exactly why I don't understand these kind of things, because I just don't understand. If I want to help someone, why is it a problem? you know? Yeah. Um, I don't think like that. And in my days, oh my god, I shouldn't be talking about this. In my days, I might have said something like racist towards something, or that could be potentially considered racist, but I didn't mean it that way at all. It was just just the fact. not like in negative way, just like maybe physical appearance observation. And it was a friend, obviously I wouldn't say something like that to just a stranger. It was a friend, and that friend regularly commented on that feature of herself, and then we're just having fun. And then I was like, oh, look at that. And they're like, well, that's racist. I'm like, well, is it though? Is it? So I have issues with that, but that's a different situation. I think that's a different discussion that I don't. If people find this video, I will be cancelled. That's gonna be fun. It's when you're being a privileged asshole, that's the issue. Yeah. Isn't that everyone today? Aren't I privileged because I'm white and I live in a rich country, and I I'm not trans. I don't have physical disability. Um like yeah, today everyone is a victim. Anything more I wanted to talk about? I don't know. Mm. I wanted to run it through the cop-out. Let's do that. Let's do that. I hope you guys don't think about me too differently after this. I really just mean well, and if I said something that bothered you guys, please just tell me and explain it to me, because I'm open to learn. I just sometimes don't understand what the problem is. And I read the book. Me and White Supremacy, and I understood some of the things, but I still don't understand the white savior complex. Even though, yeah, now we kind of got that it's for the savior, the performative versus honestly helping, but still, here it's when you are being a privileged. Yeah. We all say dumb shit sometimes, as long as we are willing to learn and change our POV, Like reading this book, I think a few people said you can't unknow some of the info. Yeah, definitely. Like as long as you have like open mind and willing to learn, willing to listen to other people. I ain't got that problem. I ain't white. Oh, I want to say good for you, but I'm not sure if that will be racist now. I'm the first one to admit when I'm being the asshole. People I get along with best are ones who aren't afraid to call me on my shit, no matter what I'm doing. Good to have friends like that. I don't have friends like that. The other thing is that the help white saviors provide might not help but harm instead. Okay, yeah, but then that I don't, for example, right now from the top of my head have an example, so that could be another discussion. Um, let's not get into that right now. Like I don't have problem talking about it. I'm not famous enough to get cancelled yet. So we can take it another time maybe, or I can search for it myself. But yeah, I see what you mean. But let's go to the through the copile. So first we have C stands for credibility and research. I would say, we have some professors who, not always might be the best people to talk on it. As we know, the education system today is all corrupted and stuff. But I'm gonna say that credibility and research is gonna be a 10, because these are usually experts in their fields. So I think for credibility, I'm going to give a 10. Like taking medicine when your back hurts instead of trying to figure out what you did to make your back hurt. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like it all abstractly relates to climate stuff in general. Wait, there is non-fiction cop. Yeah. Okay. First this. Yeah. Okay. I think I know what you mean. So it's if you go and try to help someone and you give them money to, for example, buy shoes, but you do nothing to help with the system that causes them to not be able to buy shoes. for example, if we are talking about the equity stuff in Africa, for example. um, but that again would be, if I would like to do that, if I had enough money to go and buy shoes for someone, for like 100 kids. I'm just saying this because there was recently also an issue. The biggest YouTuber did that, the Mr. Beast, and he got huge backlash for it. Is that also white savior complex? White savior issue, that he went and bought what, 20,000 kids shoes, but maybe he's not big enough to actually make a bigger change, so the kids, the parents are able to buy shoes, because that's a completely different problem. That's just not just money problem, that's a policy problem, that's a government problem, that's completely different level of problem. So I don't know if if I'm getting it right or not at all. um it could. Yeah, there is non-fiction Copal. If you downloaded the most recent one, and also the one from previous year, when you uh, can I share my screen? I can share my screen to show you maybe. Let's see. Yeah, like here, up here, you can click, and there is characters. There's the normal one for fiction, and then you have here non-fiction. So it gives you credibility and research, and then you have different ones for all of them, except of intrigue and enjoyment. Those are the same for fiction as well as they are for non-fiction. So yeah. I have no idea who you're talking about. Yeah, the biggest YouTuber. He has the most followers, I think, on YouTube of all the influencers. He's called Mr. Beast, and he, a couple weeks ago, he did something like he is very altruistic. Altruistic? That's not the word. Is it? No, he helps people. What's the word I'm looking for? He helps people a lot. So a couple weeks ago, he went and paid, I think, eye surgery for like thousands of people who couldn't see before. So he paid for them to have their eyes operated on, and they could see after the surgery. And it got a huge backlash that he was just earning money on them, and he was taking advantage of them, um, filming them and then putting them on internet and then getting money from it, instead of, I don't know, he was just taking advantage of them. And instead of saying that, yeah, he actually helped 1,000 people, and the money he gets from these videos, he's going to spend again on helping more people. Like recently, last week or something, he posted a video. He bought 20,000 shoes for kids in Africa, which were, I think, made in Africa and made from sustainable materials. So if they were from like wood or from mushroom or something, I don't know, they're from like some sustainable materials. And again, it was a problem that he goes there, he buys these shoes for the kids, takes advantage of it, and doesn't actually solve anything, except these 20,000 children now can go to school because they have shoes, kind of thing. I have heard of the guy, but Beast is an X-Men in my case. Sounds like a character in some romance book I don't want to read. Nah, he's a real person. Altruism is unselfishness, so it was the right word. Okay, yeah, thanks. Yeah, but I wanted the other word. I don't know. Yeah, but he does a lot of stuff for a lot of people. He does earn money on it because he posts videos on YouTube, but he takes that money and then again spends it on people, gives it to people again. So I, people will find problems with everything these days. Anyway, back to Copile. Second, we have A for authenticity and uniqueness. Well, it didn't feel unique after like 100 pages anymore. There are some things that I read about a million times before, but there are some brand new things. So I would give this 6.5, maybe ish. I think hope the Green Brothers help organizations the right way because I love them. Ooh, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. Okay, next we have writing. Writing or readability. Well, since I struggled to read more than 30 pages a day, I would say the readability is not great. But it was not supposed to, so I'm gonna give a 6. Nonfiction, personal impact. Like the whole project for awesome thing. Yeah. Hank Green and sibling, forgot the name. I don't know who that is. I'm lost. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just gonna do my co-pile. Personal impact, yes. There were some very useful things, but some that I heard a million times before again. So I would give it maybe 6.5. Intrigue. Intrigue was pretty high. I always wanted to know what I'm gonna learn next. So yeah. John Green. Most unmemorable name. John and Hank Green. Oh, the Green Brothers. Yeah, I don't know anything about this. What is this here? I'm a unicorn. Whatever. And then we have logic and informativeness. I think here we'll go on 9 because there was a lot of good stuff. Enjoyment. Wait, what is this? My spreadsheet is broken. Huh, weird. Enjoyment. I did love it most of the time, so I'm gonna say 8.5. Okay, I think it has. What's the problem? There is some problem here in my spreadsheet, but we ended up at 4 stars. I think that's what I would expect, just from the top of my head as well. But I don't know why there is a problem here. I'll have to fix it later. Vlog Brothers? I don't know. I just assume everybody knows them. No. My mom knows them as the guys who talk too fast. No, I don't know them. I don't know them. Yeah, was there anything else we wanted to talk about? I didn't go through my notes again. I think there was the hope thing I wanted to mention, that I recommend, the Book of Hope by Jane Goodall. I think she talks about hope really beautifully. Really touching. Yeah, then I love the article about the oceans and how essential oceans are to life on Earth. So that was nice. Um, just going through my notes quickly if I wanted something. Yeah, in one article, I just had a thought that this book is like a beginner friendly encyclopedia on climate change. So if you are interested in climate change and don't know where to start, where to learn about it from, I think this book would be great to start. Um, it it it's big one. It is heavy reading. It is not easy to get through, but you will learn a whole ton. So yeah. Um, so that I would say that that is kind of like a recommendation, that if you want to start learning about climate change, definitely start with this book. But don't give up on it, because, or if you don't like this book, don't give up on the literature about climate change, because yeah, just maybe not for you. um yeah, there was one thing. There was one thing that I was thinking when reading this book, that one, like, I really didn't like how it was done. One of the essays I really, really didn't like. And that was the climate racism, environmental racism, was it called? One or the other. It was environmental racism. And I was excited about this book, about this essay, because um, that was explained in different book I read, and I think it's very interesting topic, and I think it's oftentimes not included in the talks about climate change. And I thought it would be very interesting, but I felt like this essay was written by a very angry person who should have just, sit down, take a breath in, take 5 deep breaths in, meditate, and then come back and tell me and give me the facts, because it just felt like the most argumentative, angry, just twisting facts, or taking facts out of context. It just felt like the kind of the it just felt written in a way that she was just taking the information that she saw fit, that it would fit her narrative, which I know is absolutely not fair when we are talking about environmental racism. I know that's a thing. I just didn't like how this one was written, because that's the feeling I got from it, and I didn't like it. So I wish that would have been written either by someone else or way better than it was. Turtles All the Way Down is written by John Gray. Yeah, I mean, I heard about the author, but I still don't know what they're doing, what organizations they are supporting, or anything. I don't watch their videos. I like the organization of the articles, the different sections, I guess, and how the articles were all short enough to read one at a time if you wanted. Yes, absolutely. I love the way they were spaced out. I feel like sometimes our article, or like the essay from the last chapter, was pretty similar to a chapter from like second from the last part, was similar to the an essay from like second part. So like if you read it like spaced out enough, you will have forgotten about that you already read about it. But as I read it pretty fast, I was just like, I already read about this. So I was kind of bored in the end. I love Turtles All the Way Down. Never read it. I think I said on Sprains once, but I had a list too on the side of stuff I wanted to look into more. Yeah, I feel like every single thing here can be looked into, and I need to look into more. One thing I definitely, two things I want to look into more. One was, it said, um, one of them was that, sorry, my voice is failing me. I've been talking for an hour. The one where it said that the most sustainable animal product is still less sustainable than the least sustainable plant-based product or like vegetable fruits. And I want to look into that because I hear it so many times when anybody is talking about veganism and about the environment. But do you drink almond milk? Do you eat avocados? And no and yes. But I want to look into that. How what are the environmental impacts of avocados and almonds, and how it compares to animal products. So that's what I want to look into, because that's something like that comes up all the time in media, all the time, and people just don't know the response to it. And yeah, I just want to know if that's the true that if that's true what they said in the book, that they like avocado or almond milk would still be more sustainable than cow milk, for example. And then the second thing was, yes, now I don't know if I'll find it. If you give me a minute, I might. Was about the transportation. No, this is too late. About transportation and how much CO2 each transportation mode emits. Yes, here, this one, the figure 3 in essay 416, this one. Because this one shows, yeah, a comparison of greenhouse gas emissions intensity. And when I looked deep, like thoroughly at this graph and what the person, she, Alice Larkin, she, I guess, um, said about it, and I did like quick math in my head. I don't know if it's correct, that's why I need to look into it. But it would mean that if I would want to go to Slovakia, it would be exact the same emissions if I wanted to drive that far or if I wanted to fly that far, which sounds weird to me. So that's what I need to look into, because the graph, I'm not sure if it's not accurate or if there are some information left out or something, or if I misunderstood something. So I need to look into that as well. And I liked how so many different people from different countries and cultures were included. Like they were honestly trying to get the whole world's perspective, exactly. So I love that, because yeah, there were different people, like indigenous people, there were people from Africa, South America, uh, yeah, Europeans, Americans, Canadians, not that many Asians. There were like people from Bangladesh, Australia. Yeah, it was great. I think they did a great job in that. Bite-sized doom. There was one from an indigenous person that I really liked, about how they keep and honor their connection, to the land and the earth. And I don't know, it was, yeah, that was beautiful. That was one towards the end. I loved that one too. Was that the one where she was talking about he? I don't remember. When they were talking about the, no, not climate reparations. Yeah, it was about the indigenous people and how they, or was that about the African woman maybe? I don't know which one that was, but yeah, I love that one. I know which one you're talking about, and I love that one too. Just that there is so much to learn from the past, like traditions and things to continue, not just learning from mistakes, what not to do. Yeah, and there was one in the end as well saying that we need to learn from indigenous people and apply what they know about nature, and we need to uh, yeah, give them the leadership because they know how to take care of the nature pretty much, um, or they know it way better than the rest of us. So yeah, that's chapter I liked as well. Yeah, there were lots of things I liked. um, I like the chapter about the pandemic, lessons from the pandemic, how they say how the governments made huge decisions very very fast when there was yeah, it was that by the time of writing this book, there are like 5 point something million dead people from COVID-19. And that was like a huge, like, I understand why it was, but that it was a big deal. And then that 10 million people die every year from air pollution and from climate change consequences. And nobody's doing anything about that. So that was very interesting comparison. I liked that as well. There are lots of great things, so I would definitely recommend. Um, yeah, I give it 4 stars because it's just got very repetitive in the end, and it was just like, yeah, I already heard this million times. I didn't like all of the articles by Greta. Those were sometimes very emotionally blackmailing kind of thing sometimes. So yeah. Mm, yes, that was a good one. I think Greta said something with it too, like how fast we responded to a global crisis and how we can do it again once we recognize it as a crisis. Exactly. And like I understand why the response was so fast with pandemic, because it was something unknown. Uh, for our governments, it was unknown. For us, it was unknown because the last pandemic, like global pandemic that happened, was like 80 years ago. So we don't remember it. Um, so it's understandable that they were so scared. But the deaths from dead were still like diametrically lower than they are from climate change. So yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah, Greta is condescending a lot, like you all said. Yeah, I think, yeah, she is. I'm wondering where I saw. Was it from the book No One Is Too Small to Make a Difference? Like, why I understand what she means sometimes. Um, she is condescending, but I don't think she means to be. I think she's just trying to put out the facts and put it out in a way that you can't hide behind the fluff. But it can come across as condescending. But yeah, but also has some good quotes. So I like her, but also feel insulted. Yeah, exactly. um, and that works. That works too. And I think that was also mentioned in the book, but only once, and it should have been mentioned more, or it should have been explained more. That yes, we are saying we don't like how Greta is talking down to us. That uh, we don't like the doomsday narrative, right? And I think most of the people are like that. But at the same time, there are lots of people who will not respond to, just facts, or to just like, oh yeah, it's warming, like somebody, you would show this, the stripes, and some people would be like, what the hell is that? I need to look into that. And some people will be like, pretty colors, and so some different people respond to different tactics differently. So even though we might be offended by some things that Greta says, and the tone she sometimes has, it's gonna work on a lot of other people. That it's gonna work on the other people. Like it's just undeniable, and they didn't explain it in the book very well. That sometimes the panic is what people respond to. Sometimes it's pretty stories. Sometimes it's devastating pictures. Like there are different things that people respond to, and I think that's important to point out. And that was only very, like, it was just like one sentence in the book, that there are like different ways to be an activist. and different ways that people like to be approached. But yeah, so yeah, I think that's, was there something more? um yeah, yeah, I made the note on when she was talking about the colonization of atmosphere. And it's like, I wrote, she's just saying it how it is, blunt and direct. And in the bracket, I kind of like it. So see, sometimes it will work, sometimes it will not. Like with that one, obviously it worked. I liked it, but I didn't like when she was saying that you have to earn hope, because what is that nonsense? So you know, yeah. So that was it was fun. It was fun book. It was ambitious one to start with. Um, it was very ambitious to start with. That's also why we have the book club, this discussion so late, because it took a long time to read. Next one, oh, I wanted to prepare it, I didn't grab it. Next book is Migrations by Charlotte McConaughey. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I will learn that by the next time I do a live show. And that book is, I am actually not sure how to describe it. I know it's about a woman who is trying to go on a trip to Arctic, I think, to follow birds on their possibly last migration due to the climate change. Franny Stone has always been the kind of woman who is able to love but unable to stay. Leaving behind everything but her research gear, she arrives in Greenland with a singular purpose: to follow the last Arctic terns in the world on what might be their final migration to Antarctica. Franny talks her way onto a fishing boat, and she and the crew set sail, traveling ever further from shore and safety. But as Franny's history begins to unspool a passionate love affair, an absent family, a devastating crime, it becomes clear that she is chasing more than just the birds. When Franny's dark secrets catch up with her, how much is she willing to risk for one more chance at redemption? Epic and intimate, heartbreaking and galvanizing, Charlotte McConaughey's Migrations is an ode to a disappearing world and a breathtaking page turner about the possibility of hope against all odds. And it is science fiction, literary fiction, nature, contemporary dystopia. Sounds exciting. Sounds like a note I'd make. I kind of like it. Because some people need to see the facts laid out, like like, hey, this is how it is, the end. Yeah, exactly. Some people need tough love. And some people need to see the graphs and charts to visually understand exactly. And then sometimes you need pictures of, comparing. Like today, I saw on Facebook and I thought it was fascinating. um let me find it. I shared it, so it's gonna be here. There was a picture of, yeah, border between Haiti and Dominican Republic, I believe. Oi, come back. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, how on one side it's a forest and the other side is just dry hills. And yeah, that's one of the pictures that would make you think, like, why is it like that? um and it would be, yeah, because of the energy crisis, because of the inequality between nations, because the Haiti is much poorer or whatever. um so they need to use the trees to get energy, and stuff like that. Or the plastic island in Pacific, that could convince someone. Like, there, people are convinced by different things. Facebook, speaking of global crisis. Yeah, I check Facebook here and there. I don't share much stuff. Like, I don't share anything personal. I just reshare sometimes articles that I find interesting, or pictures or something. It's just, I'm old. You will never get me off Facebook, but I prefer Instagram. Mm. Anyway, so what would should we conclude on the climate book then? I would definitely recommend to anyone who's interested in learning about climate change. No discussion. Just read it. You don't have to read it all at once. Read it whenever you feel like you want to, you know, learn something new. Uh, the structure is amazing. Also, I wanted to point out it's such superficial thing, but I loved it. And I don't know if you can see it in your grayscale version of your book, but in mine, the part one, these lines. Notice the color of these lines. Like it starts here and then it changes. It's not the same in all of them. And then it changes according to the stripes. Part four, we are getting some red. In part five, we have the dark red. I loved it. It was just the detail, teeny tiny detail. But I thought, like, great graphic idea. Love it. I stopped using Facebook when no one appreciated all the petitions and animal protection stuff I posted. Oh yeah, at one point I was posting so much stuff like that, my sister blocked me. It didn't stop me. I don't care. But I see what you mean. Okay, yeah. Um yeah, best read a little at a time and a good overview of a lot of topics so you can find what you want to do more research on. Exactly. There is always good to get more research into some of the topics because this doesn't cover it even close. So yeah, definitely agree. They didn't come across in gray at all. Yeah, I like the little touch to it. I loved it. So just wanted to point it out. It's so stupid, but it's so cute. Yeah. What, did you give it some rating, or you don't rate non-fictions? But yeah, I give it then 4 stars. Would recommend. I think it was a great start to our journey in this book club because now we have the basic knowledge of everything. So now, if we read something else, we can always refer to this. I already have some stuff prepared for the Bill Gates book in June. I found some fun videos, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. Controversial book right there. And for me, it's always nice to hear from literally anyone but people from the US. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I haven't even written a review. Whoops! But I was thinking 4 stars, just a random pick from my head. Yeah. I mean, I finished it just now, so I'm not. I will write review probably on Tuesday in my sprints as usual. But yeah, 4 stars as well. Sounds good. Yeah. So I think we can wrap it up. We talked about a lot of things. Is there something more? um. Yeah, I have some quotes written down. Yeah, I don't like Greta's view on hope all that much. If you want to talk about hope, read the Book of Hope by Jane Goodall. It's right there. And then more quotes. So I have a couple quotes. So that was great. My typing is just getting worse, isn't it? Apologies. No worries, it's fine. Yeah, but I think we can wrap it up here then. Um, yeah, it was a great read. I'm happy I read it. I am very happy that you read it, just because honestly I didn't expect anyone to join. And yeah, so this was fun. Thank you for joining. And hopefully, I mean, the next one should definitely be easier read. It's like 250 pages. It's fiction, so it should be much quicker read, much easier read, maybe more fun to discuss, maybe not as depressing at times. And I'm really excited about that one. Maybe I will not be as scared as I was with this one. But yeah, yeah. Thank you for doing this. I'm so excited. This book club is a thing. Thank you very much, because I know I was considering if I should make this book club, because I know people like to read for distraction and for escapism, and not many people want to read about depressing stuff. And they don't have time in their month to set aside to read nonfiction or something. But at the same time, I felt like that's just what I need to do. I need to do it. I just care too much to do what people want or something. I just want to do this. If people don't want to join, they don't want to join, that's fine. But if I can motivate one other person to read a book about climate change and learn something about climate change, mission accomplished. So I am so happy that you are happy. Even if it's always just three of us. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe it will be more people if it's a more manageable book, because this is like really a break. Like you can kill someone with it. So peaceful. I told you I'm into this shit. I'll be here always. Hmm. Thank you. High five. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Thank you very much for being here, for hanging out with me, for finding me. That I wasn't here all alone. I was kind of afraid that I would be here all alone. I knew you said you would be here, but you never know. But yeah, thank you for being here with me. And yeah, have a great rest of the day and of the evening. Enjoy your weekend. And I will talk to you on Tuesday in my sprints, as usual. So thank you very much. It was fun. And I'll see you very, very soon. Bye.